LaylaFSaad, Me and White Supremacy, Combat Racism, Change the World, and Become a Good Ancestor. Take a journey through the thought-provoking book, Me and White Supremacy, Combat Racism, Change the World, and Become a Good Ancestor, by LaylaFSaad. This book challenges the reader to recognize that white supremacy is not merely a radical ideology but a widespread system that encompasses white-centered culture and affects even the most ordinary, everyday lives. Throughout the summary, you will uncover various aspects of this ideology, including white privilege, white exceptionalism, and white fragility, as well as the different forms of racism experienced by BIPOC. Delve into a comprehensive understanding of allyship, tokenism, and white saviorism, while gaining insights into the importance of recognizing and combating white supremacy in all aspects of life.
The Widespread Reality of White Privilege. LaylaFSaad's book, Me and White Supremacy, challenges readers to consider the reality of white privilege as not just a belief held by right-wing extremists, but as a pervasive ideology that benefits all white people. White supremacy is the foundation upon which white-centered culture is based, and anyone who can pass as white benefits from white privilege without even realizing it. Examples of these privileges may include experiencing the history of one's own race when learning about history, finding culturally fitting products while shopping, not worrying about healthcare or legal assistance being impacted by race, and not having to warn children about racism. This belief in white superiority has been further proven by the result of an experiment where both black and white children preferred white dolls, displaying a preference for whiteness. Saad encourages readers to acknowledge their privilege and work through any feelings of defensiveness towards doing so. Dismantling white supremacy. The author discusses how white people often respond defensively to conversations about white supremacy, labeling themselves as exceptions and victims. However, being complicit in a system of racism means taking responsibility, working through white fragility, and avoiding white silence and apathy. It's time to dismantle white supremacy by acknowledging our role and actively working towards change. The harmful act of tone policing and cultural appropriation. Tennis superstar Serena Williams received a formal reprimand during the 2018 U.S. Open for calling the umpire a thief. However, former players admitted that they had said worse and faced no penalties, highlighting the issue of tone policing. The expectation for BIPOC to speak in a particular way is a form of racial stereotyping that perpetuates white supremacy. This is especially harmful when discussing experiences of racism. White culture continues to assert its dominance through cultural appropriation, regardless of the harm it causes to marginalized communities. These harmful actions must be addressed to create a more equitable society. Different forms of racism. In her book, the author discusses the various forms of racism that non-white people experience. The focus is primarily on anti-blackness experienced by black people of African descent. Black women, men, and children are affected in different ways, with dehumanizing stereotypes spilling over into wider society and affecting our collective thinking. Black women are at a high risk of death during pregnancy or childbirth, possibly due to the belief that they are both inferior to and stronger than white women. Black men are often portrayed as violent, unintelligent, and sexually aggressive. Black children experience adultification and get fewer leadership opportunities. The book warns that feminism also has issues with racism and calls for us to practice intersectional feminism that acknowledges the multiple types of oppression that people face. The fallacy of color blindness and white saviorism. Some well-intentioned white people often engage in color blindness, tokenism, and white saviorism concerning race issues. These actions may seem harmless, but they do more harm than good. They perpetuate white supremacy, reinforce white egos, and center white people as the focal point of everything that they do. Tokenism and white saviorism, in particular, often substitute genuine engagement with anti-racism with shallow gestures that only serve to make white people feel good about themselves. Breaking away from a white-centered view is possible and necessary to end white supremacy. The importance of allyship in combating racism. Are you ready to be a true ally? Allyship is more than just a one-off action, it is a consistent and ongoing effort to work in solidarity with BIPOC. This involves acknowledging your privilege and constantly examining your relationship with those who are less privileged. To be an ally, one must be open to the possibility of being wrong, and prepare for being called out or called in. The important thing is to not react with white fragility and center yourself, but rather take the criticism constructively and compare it to the lifetime worth of racism that BIPOC have to deal with. Real allyship goes beyond performing performative actions, such as overposting on social media, and instead involves making the struggle of BIPOC your own and acting in support of them. In the next part, you will discover specific ways to be an ally in the fight against racism. Losing privilege, taking action against white supremacy. As a white or white-passing person, it is crucial to actively lose your unearned privileges. This requires educating yourself on anti-racism, educating others, supporting BIPOC through humble actions, and putting others first. One way to ensure accountability is to create a concrete list of promises. It's important to understand that this process is not about you and to be open to criticism and exhaustion. While dismantling the system of white supremacy may seem impossible as an individual, taking these steps helps work towards a better future for everyone.
After embracing the powerful lessons in Me and White Supremacy, it's essential to put the knowledge into action and take responsibility for one's part in dismantling the system. With a proactive approach and mindset shift, strive to lose privilege, educate oneself and others, and recognize the pitfalls of white-centered thinking. Remember that acknowledging and confronting white supremacy is a lifelong commitment and requires ongoing effort. By taking concrete steps and introducing significant changes in personal and professional life, every individual can contribute to creating a better, more equitable future for all.